Roll call.
Clayton.
Here.
Corey. Here. Doty.
Here.
Dowdy.
Here.
Friesland.
Here.
Mason.
Yes.
McDevitt.
Here.
Purdy.
Here.
Shook.
Here.
Watts.
Here.
Bennett.
Here.
Cox.
Here. When I got here, Mr. Dowdy, your nameplate wasn't here, and I thought I was going to have to do the invocation. But you do a much better job than I do, so I asked that you would do the invocation.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for this season to remind us of who you are and what you came to this earth to do. Lord, it's that you wanted peace on earth and goodwill toward all men. We pray for the nations, we pray for this nation, we pray for this county, that we have peace and goodwill towards all our citizens and each other. And we pray all of this in your wonderful and mighty name, the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Moment of silence, please. Please join me in a pledge to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on our list of public comment is Mr. Stodden.
Okay, I'd like to come tonight, make a proposal. I've had various citizens from time to time, as we talk about things in government and so forth, we've had the television, we had the meeting live streamed during COVID, and I rather like to see if we could get that done, so because we're dealing with a lot of ignorance out on nowadays, because people don't understand government. I don't know that I understand it all myself. There's a lot goes into it. But what would you think? Maybe we could spend $5,000 to buy the equipment? Who wants to say something? How about you, young man? You're brand new here. You'd be for that, wouldn't you?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it.
Well, it would broadcast a meeting. Maybe you don't understand. A meeting would go live stream, people could call in. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
I don't care.
Huh?
It don't matter to me.
Yes or no?
Yeah, yes.
He said yes. You got a yes?
I'm not opposed to everybody seeing us work.
Yes. Mr. Bennett? Joe, man.
I would be for
I
that.
got my hand up.
As long as there's no violation of the Open Meetings Act by doing it that way, I'm all for that.
Okay. Well, there'd be a lot of people would like to see it. I don't know how many a lot is, but there'd be enough that they could talk and learn about these things. And that would probably help us a lot in many ways. How could we proceed with this? Anybody have any ideas? I don't really know.
You got ARPA funds.
Pardon me?
They have ARPA funds. They can take money out of ARPA funds and put it in.
The deadline has passed for that.
Say that.
The deadline has passed for ARPA funds. So that would be, that wouldn't work.
Oh, I see. Mr. President, do you have any ideas?
Why can't
I
you buy
I don't
something?
quite understand exactly what you're asking for.
Well, we streamlined the meeting like we did in COVID. Was you here during COVID?
Yes. And what's the advantages to that? Again?
Well, the public would begin to see local government in action.
How many people used that streaming when we had it?
Well, I can't say. It's hard to say, but there was interest. Quite considerable interest. I'd say.
Well, I guess my question would be, how much interest does it cost? Is it cost effective? I guess that'd be my question.
Well, I don't think it's cost over $4,000 or $5,000. And that's not a big deal.
Why don't you put on a referendum? People tell you.
We don't need a referendum. We surely got some money laying around here somewhere.
Around here, you need a referendum.
Your time's about up, though. You're 3 minutes.
I'm asking a question.
I don't have
It's Christmas time.
I don't have the answer. Okay, it's Christmas. I don't have the answer to that. I don't know.
Well, okay, has anybody got any ideas?
I would encourage you to attend the Office and Rules Committee meeting
Okay,
and bring that up and get some open discussion. That's where things like this get started, not in an open board meeting.
yeah, sure enough.
Maybe go to Eastern and go to their news station, go to the station at Eastern and say that this is what you're thinking about and how much would it cost? Can they put a package together? Not them doing it, just because they do it and they know about equipment, et cetera, because we don't want to say it's 5,000 when it's 10 or when it's 2. So homework needs to be done, and that would be great if you're interested in that, to go talk to the news station at the university.
Can you do that for us?
I'm not willing to. I have so much on my plate. There's not one more item I can put on my plate. I can give you the name of.
Well, I ain't got time either. Somebody's really got time here.
Mr. Stoddard, I was mistaken. You have 1 minute and 39 seconds.
Well, there you go. Who wants to volunteer on the county board? I know you don't, you folks have got plenty of time. That was a joke.
I believe it was,
How about this, man? Didn't you work for the EIU?
sure,
Yeah.
but not in media. But I think it was regional planning development that facilitated that when it was happening, so that would be another place that we could ask about what the technical requirements and equipment need to be to make, see if it's
Sure.
feasible or not.
Well, and I know there's various county boards are doing this, school boards are doing it. Let's get with the program and be modern and or have all that artificial intelligence. All right, we'll report next week or next month. Somebody report.
Thank you. Mr. Perry.
Question's going to be about the taxes from last year. We know that Lafayette Township wasn't done properly. It's not what if, it is what it is. So can anybody from the Office and Rules Committee give me an update of what's going to happen with Lafayette Township, realizing that 75% of that township never was reassessed, only 25%, and what corrective measures have taken place to offset what went wrong, and why are we still doing the same thing in the other townships? I'm opening up the floor to ask the questions, so if anybody would step forward from the board and kind of enlighten me, I'd appreciate it.
My understanding was, representing Lafayette Township at the time, was that there was, using your numbers of 25% of the parcels being reassessed, but the rest of the parcels were added on to an 11%
That's true.
multiplier.
That's true.
And so that was to suffice. But to ask your question about when are they gonna be reassessed, that's a township assessor question.
I got that.
Yeah.
But the problem with that logic and what we're talking about, some people got 11%, some people got 50 and 70%.
Agreed.
So now what's going on is the 50 and 70% are paying the price, and the ones that got 11 are 3 years away from paying, fixing, or feeling what the other people do. And if taxes do what we've seen them do, they're not going to stop escalating. You see the problem? You see the problem we have?
I've been told several times that we cannot get involved with that. I can just ask questions and answers. That's a supervisor of assessment in their office, that it's a conflict for us to get into the, I guess, the details of it. And so,
Wouldn't you say that anybody that would come forward with a complaint would have an easy time of it? From the standpoint of what's going on and what we know that has gone on for the last 4 years. It would really be simple because there's such a difference in values countywide. Am I making sense to you? And if you don't understand what I'm saying, let me know, board-wise, not just one person.
no,
You see the problem? If you see the problem, what fixes it? Because it's not going to change.
My understanding is when we ask that question, Mr. Perry, in the Office of Rules Committee, when we get a tax cycle update, is that it's a tax assessor, or I'm sorry, a township assessor issue.
But that doesn't change the inequality. My point is, we have inequality in the county. And if you read the manuals and understand the tax situation, property taxes are supposed to be levied equally throughout the county. They're not there. I guarantee you, I can show you.
Mr. Perry, time's up, I'd ask for you to wrap it up.
Pardon me?
I asked for you to wrap it up, your 3 minutes are up.
Well, I would like, by next meeting, some type of notification of how we're going to address it, because it's going to continue until we figure out a way to fix it, because it's not right. And I'm not here complaining about nobody in the thing, but all we've done is pass this on for the last 3 tax cycles. Okay? Thanks.
Mr. Donato.
Let's talk about the tax cycles and the assessments. It's still going on, the inequity. You can pass it off to the township assessor and look the other way, but the chief assessment officer resides in this county. She's called in front of the Office and Rules Committee. We've been here for 8 years saying the same things, and nothing has changed. Dottie, you kept saying how you were going to get to the bottom of this. You were going to start asking questions and do this. It's the same thing. Same thing. Nothing's changed. I know that for a fact. My phone's been ringing off the wall, and I know for a fact that the township assessors are not assessing the whole quad like they're supposed to. And you can say we don't have enough manpower, we don't have enough people. Tough. You guys wanted to go to a quadrennial assessment. That was the county that wanted to do that. So you went to the state, you got your quad, and now somebody who's paying 80%, someone's paying 20, somebody's paying 10, and that's supposed to be fair, and everyone's just supposed to eat it, and life goes on as normal in the county board. 8 years, nothing has changed. That's fact. That's fact. We file lawsuits, that's a fact. You won't even settle the lawsuit, you know who's lying. I've said this before. It's not our group that's lying. You have misled. There's been lies stated about the taxes and what's been done with them in this very room. And it's true. And as much as you hate me coming here, as much as you don't like seeing me, and you think you don't like my presentation, it's true and it's unfair and it continues. And we continue to come and talk about it, and other people just put their heads down, they look the other way, they call us troublemakers. You're elected to represent us. You work for us. I think you forget who's the boss here in the room, and it's not you. And you're not doing anything to fix the problem. And it continues. Pass it on to the township. Township says, well, Wonder Man, we don't know what to do. Da, 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 da. And the taxpayer still gets screwed. And it's continuing, and no one wants to get involved. Well, we don't want to say anything. We're supposed to be quiet because we're in court over this. You know you lied. You know you illegally hired Bob Becker. You know the quads are not getting assessed like they should be. And you refuse to do anything about it. If that doesn't say where our county government is right now and where it's been for the last 8 years, then I don't know what does. And all this jibber jabber about I'm going to get to the bottom of this, and I'm not just picking on you. It's all of you. I'm only one vote. I'm learning. Nancy Purdy at meetings saying, oh, they're just a bunch of troublemakers. They don't even listen to us. Oh, our attorney told us not to say anything. Oh, he said a bad word in the county board, even though you can go to a PG-13 meeting and hear worse than what I've said in this county boardroom. It's a crock. Nothing changes. How many, you know what, you talk about cost effectiveness, Mr. Cox?
Mr. Denolfi,
You talk about
your 3 minutes are up, wrap it up.
You talk about cost effectiveness for $5,000. What about the person that can't afford to buy gas to gas their truck up to drive to work every day, having trouble paying for their medical bills, their health insurance and whatnot, and you just ignore this situation? You know how many people are hurting because of this? And to raise taxes now and do it unfairly? That's crazy. You don't care about the common people. You don't. You don't. It's a crock.
Mr. Combs.
Actually, I wanted to talk about a different topic, but unfortunately, I'm one of those individuals that got socked with the quad. The reason I'm here at the county board meeting to discuss it tonight is that illegal activity has been occurring. You're only supposed to be reassessed on a quad unless you sell real estate, transaction occur, or whether you have a large improvement in your property. I was reassessed last year. I was reassessed the year before. Now I'm reassessed in a quad. One of my properties that was reassessed the last 2 years, which shouldn't have been reassessed, went up 38% from last year's reassessment. How is that possible? The other thing is this property that went up 38%, there is no comparison property. I have one of a kind. It's in a 2,000 grant easement. It can never be commercially developed. It can never be timbered. There's no timber value on it. It's one of 2 virgin timbers left in Coles County. It can't be timbered. It can't be developed. I have a house that nobody can live in but the raccoons, the snakes, the mice, and the rats. I have a pole barn building that's over 40 years old, unfinished, that I took from the landfill and put back up. I have 11 acres of farm ground on this piece of property that is converted into CRP and pollinator program. Eastern and U of I have access to this program for training exercises, ROTC programs, and other issues. And yet it got raised 38%, and it holds no value. There is no comparison property to compare it to. And like I said, I was reassessed last year. I was reassessed the year before. Illegal. You can't do that unless I sold property or unless something else happened. This county board needs to realize that you have to follow the law. You're here to follow the law. You're here to oversee the tax assessor's office. You're here to make sure that they're following the rules of the law. That's part of your job, to help look out for our best interests. You can't let these people run amok and do this. And also, you've got them doing these quads where they're not equalizing the quad that they're taking. They're taking the high end. Okay? Now you've got a higher tax base that you're charging people because you're not uniforming it out. I'm enlightening myself on these tax issues, and you people that know me know that once I grab onto something, I start grabbing up on facts, figures, documents, everything else to prove it. I don't sit here and speak out about something that I don't know anything about. I can bring whatever I need before you to get this resolved. This is unfair to the taxpayers in this county. And I know that my time's coming up, and I'm trying to be as honest as I can to you people to let you know what's going on. And you need to know it, and you need to address it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a question, have you taken it to the Board of Review?
I'm taking it to the board of review tomorrow, as far as that. The reason that I hadn't got it is I wanted to make sure that I had all the documentation to prove everything that I was saying. The other thing to answer your question is, I'm not out to just benefit myself at the cost of something, I actually found 1 acre that they aren't charging me taxes on because they have it in somebody else's name. Okay, and that will be brought forward. I'm not about being dishonest or trying to screw the system. What I'm trying to do is be fair about the system. And I want the system to be fair about me.
Please understand, though, that the township supervisors who are duly assessing are elected officials, and therefore we really have no control over elected officials.
But you can make sure that they're following the letter of the law.
Live in those townships are over those people,
Right.
and they can vote them out.
They can vote them out, but who stands over them for breaking the law? Who addresses that issue?
I think it would be the state. The state. Probably.
I mean, could anybody answer me that? Who
The
holds them?
supervisor assessment's office has the ability, if the township assessors are not doing their job, to get someone in there and do the job and charge the township. And if you knew the law, like we've told you 8 years ago, it would have been done. But again, you look the other way.
Let's move on.
No, it's the
No,
law.
I have
They
a
can
question
do that.
for him, not for
Mr. Gaither.
Sure, you don't want to hear the answer, Nancy, just like you've done for the last 8 years. You just turn your head.
You don't listen either. I'm sorry.
There's
Thanks.
nothing to listen to, you don't say anything.
I do think there's a sign on the door when you come in. It says that the courtroom is geared for electronic, recording and video recording, right? So it's like the whole room, I think, is set up to record all that stuff. It's just a matter of, it's like will and action, probably about 3 months a week, probably. One thing about if you did put all the meetings, especially the committee meetings, the board of review meetings would be great to put out in for public consumption, is that it would be out there for people to look at and compare, and then we wouldn't have all this, conflicting words from people in the past and today, right? Because fairness is really important, and when people don't feel like it's fair, that they're getting screwed, and it seems like everybody's getting screwed, which is terrible. So transparency is really important, but of course, more people would be showing up, right? If more people were upset. Yeah, I see more people here today. I saw this happen, was it last year? There's a whole, we had to go down to the bigger room downstairs because the whole room was filled. And then there'll be nobody show up about, springtime or whatever. But, it's important to get these taxes right. Even if you can't force these things, you can find ways. A person who wants to do something, who wants to do the right thing for people in these positions, the whole reason why you have the position that you were elected is because of the connections you have, because of the influence you have, and then you have this position that has limited or more expansive kinds of abilities, capacities. You can either choose to find it, choose to find ways to help people, help the county, or you can choose to just, pawn it off on everybody else to find all the connections that you have, right? It's like, oh, yeah, find out the Planning and Development Committee at Eastern, and you have no connections at Eastern. But that's what the board is supposed to have, is the connections to make all that happen. It's really tough to just hand that off on the people, because that's your expertise. That's why you're on the board, is to provide that expertise to bridge these gaps so that our county is better off today and we're better prepared for tomorrow. Because there are challenges coming that we're not at all prepared for.
Your time's up.
Thank you so much.
You're done?
Oh, yeah.
Ms. Mason.
Before I start, I so apologize. I realized too late that I couldn't print my stuff off today, so I'll get back here. I witnessed a Nazi salute in this courtroom within the last few months, and I've heard some who speak before the board opine that 3 minutes is insufficient time for comments, somehow viewing this as a free speech violation. Given our national situation where democracy is being tested and fake news and alternative facts are part of our reality, I wanted to address briefly some differences between democracy and fascist or authoritarian rule. Within our democracy, citizens have access to health, education, health care, affordable housing, transportation, and by the way, sports, art, music, and theater in many nations are not co-curricular activities, so they have to pay for them. A democracy provides us access to our elected representatives. We're taught as youngsters that the legislative, executive, and judicial branches have separate powers and responsibilities and serve as a set of checks and balances. Authoritarians and fascists don't care about vote totals. These strong, dominant leaders destroy their opponents through a variety of means, including jailing, exiling, terminating rights, and killing them. They don't want your opinion, they don't care about your vote, and they will do what they think is necessary to create stability, regardless of the consequences, to the people, their assets, and their livelihoods. And the authoritarian is not bound by the Constitution. Individual rights such as freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, and so on are all up to the whims of the dictator. Imagine your neighbor starts to build a building, a shed on your yard. In democracy, you have recourse. In a fascist state, you may not have recourse because your neighbor has a government position. You can't address that injustice. You can't speak ill of anyone in power. You must comply with all directives or face severe consequences. The fascist goal becomes the country's goals. Imagine us with no governmental standards for food preparation or storage. Imagine not having agencies that check the safety of bridges, railroads, and airplanes. Imagine bringing back child labor, dumping unions, and eliminating workplace safety regulations. Democracy is not perfect. It is messy. But ultimately, democracy is not about the strength of one individual or the cult of an individual. When we vote, we hope to elect a trusted people to make good decisions on our behalf. We have the right to be heard. That doesn't mean we have the right to get what we want. Citizens have access to their representatives through calls, mail, email, face-to-face visits, and public comment. In a fascist or authoritarian system, all bets are off.
Probably she knows we have a fascist government.
Nicholas Dale?
We have a republic. You got to listen to the Pledge of Allegiance. You got it all wrong.
Good evening, Cook County Board. On January 10th, there is a House meeting at the Brookings Administration Center in Champaign, Illinois. I think it's maybe a hearing or something for ethics and election. I think everyone here could definitely use some strengthening and education on ethics and elections. I've heard some previous case law on some of the controversies of elections here in Polk County. So they're having that on, I think, January 10th at 11 a.m. at the Brookings Administration. Definitely, you guys need to learn a little bit more about ethics.
You know, why don't you run for office if you think it's so easy? Did you hear me?
I didn't hear it say it was easy.
I don't think it warrants a response.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. I'm done. Approval of the minutes.
My name's on the list, Mr. Chairman. My name is on the signing list.
Oh, you're at the bottom of the page. I'm looking right here. I'm sorry.
And can I have about a minute when he's done? I'll be brief.
Pardon?
Can I have about a minute when he's done? I'll be brief.
Sure. Okay, Mr. Allen, you're up.
Thank you, appreciate it. Ms. Mason, just for the sake of discussion, since you're at EIU, I believe you work there.
I work there.
I'm assuming an instructor. We're a constitutional republic. There's a big difference between a democracy and a constitutional republic. I had the pleasure, for at least the last 5 years, to do a presentation on business ethics at your school. I recently did it to a class of juniors, and I asked a question at the end of the presentation. How many remember what Benjamin Franklin was asked after the signing of the Constitution? And 2 juniors in the front row said, "Who?" And I said, "Benjamin Franklin." And a gentleman in the back of the class said, "Who's that?" And I looked at the professor, and he and I both knew our education system has failed us, just as it has failed you in that presentation, because we are a constitutional republic. Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate.
Now on with the rest of my time. I don't appreciate ignorance, especially when it's in the school system. Ms. Purdy, you made a comment about the assessors. Townships have the opportunity to elect assessors, but they don't all elect them. Many of them are appointed or contracted. Many of them don't have an assessor.
Not in
But-
Coles County.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, not in Coles County, however.
You're saying all townships have elected assessors? No, they don't. As a county board member, I can't believe you don't know that after 8 years of this assessment problem. It's unbelievable. It really is. You refuse to read the information provided to you. I provided you tons of stuff that came out of this courthouse, out of a courtroom, and you refuse to even acknowledge receipt of that disgusting information that you supported. You folks have been told you can't get involved with your supervisor assessment. You can't touch it, can't touch it. I don't know what questions you've asked. So I don't know why that answer was given to you. This is your duties, folks. The county board, by a vote of 2/3 of its members, may dismiss a supervisor of assessment before the expiration of his or her term for misfeasance, malfeasance, or nonfeasance in the performance of the duties of the office. That is 35 ILCS 200/3-10. You have a duty to make sure they're doing their job. And when they're not, you have a duty to hold them accountable. It's not go tell them how to do the assessment or what they have to assess. Here's their duty. Are they doing fair and equitable assessments, ensuring it's being done? The answer is no. What are you doing about it? You have the power. I've read this before numerous times. And I know some of you are new board members, but you do have the oversight authority to make sure they're doing their job. They're not doing their job. They're the ultimate backstop when it doesn't get done right at the township level. That's why they're there. You have the power to do it. And if you're being told, well, you can't get involved, you need to identify what you're being told you can't get involved in. Because you have been given powers in the state law to do certain things.
Mr. Allen, you're wrapping up to get.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the timer.
That's okay. I can't hear, I couldn't hear it if I was over there either.
The only other statute I wanted to just point to, 55 ILCS 5/2-1001, the last paragraph of it, and I appreciate some of your comments back interacting. At each regular and special meeting which is open to the public, members of the public and employees of the county shall be afforded the time to ask within reasonable constraints, to comment or ask questions of the board. The intent of that is to get answers. I appreciate that you have answered some people's questions. If not, get them answers. It's important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, can I get you to sign this before you leave?
No, sign right now.
That'd be fine.
Not the invoice, is it?
I wasn't thinking that fast.
Thanks. The issue with videotaping and live streaming meetings. I know you guys, I believe you did it during COVID. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you use the courthouse camera system to do that? If you didn't, there's no need to contact EIU, their media department, to figure out how much stuff costs. This right here
This whole setup is $5,000 or less.
One time.
One-time purchase, no, and no subscription fees. This is like $1,400. We subscribe to 2 different cellular services for unlimited service, and a service to push out our live feed to 3 or 4 different companies, because that's what we choose to do. You can use this and connect to the courthouse internet without the modems and without subscribing to anything, and just have it connect straight to YouTube. It's easy. The camera was, $2,500 and $300 or $400 mic and a couple $100 tripod, and you can set it up for it. So $5,000, it actually costs less than that. And why you would even consider not doing it when it's only $5,000 is beyond me. I mean, the public should know, because, when the next time it comes to vote, the public may want to research what you said the previous 4 years.
What's the difference between the county disseminating that information and you doing it? Aren't you doing it now? I mean, don't you?
We don't come to every meeting.
Okay.
But-
I thought you came to every county board meeting.
No, we used to.
Okay.
There's, in Cole, or Shelby County, within the last 4 or 5 months, bought similar thing for around $5,000. And they set it up at even their committee meetings and live stream those. So it's portable, you can take it anywhere. If you want to have a meeting out in the front yard, take a camera and fire it up.
And I think you'd have the people follow once they knew you had it actually in
Yes,
in
it's
operation.
easy to do. The public, I'm sure eventually, they might not watch it live, but they'll be on there and watch it.
And I can guarantee you, if you start doing it, we'll make sure people know.
Thanks. That's all I had.
Thank you. You have 27 seconds left.
All right.
Okay, where am I at here? Entertain a motion to approve the minutes. There are 2 sets of minutes. October's and November's. Do we need to amend the minutes before we approve them? Correct? Okay. Okay.
Do you need a motion? Is that what you're
I do.
I make a motion.
Second. A motion by Mr. Dowdy, a second by Mr. Friesland. Any discussion? Roll call.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
McDevitt,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. Currently, we need to amend the November 14th, 2023 minutes regarding an Ameren agreement. It was a, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a verbal agreement, it was not in writing. Correct? And we need to remove those since it was not in writing. So, all right. There's mud. So, I will entertain a motion to amend those minutes to remove the Ameren verbal.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Bennett, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Doty, any discussion? Roll call.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
McDevitt,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. Now we need to approve the amended November 14th minutes. I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Clayton, second by Ms. Corey. Any discussion? Roll call.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
McDevitt,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. Our no appointments. Committee reports, building and grounds, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Building and Grounds Committee met November 27th, 2023. The Building and Grounds Committee met at 5:30 p.m. with the following members in attendance: Rick Shook, Gail Mason, Tad Friesland, Nancy Purdy, and myself, Bob Bennett, as chair. Also attending were Steve Simpson, maintenance, and Vicki Beabout, administrative assistant. Maintenance update was the first on the agenda, with Mr. Simpson sharing with the members on current and future projects. Upgrades for the elevator at the jail has started and will hopefully be completed within 3 weeks. Old business, Mr. Simpson also shared with the members he will be applying for an ARPA grant for blinds and sliding doors. New business was none. Miscellaneous business was none. The meeting adjourned at 5:55 p.m. A motion by Mr. Friesman and the second by Ms. Purdy. That's all the minutes were.
Thank you. Cooperative Extension Board, Ms. Corey.
Oh, I'm sorry. We just met last Thursday. No minutes already yet. I'll report next month.
Thank you. County Office and Rules.
Get me out there for a second. The County Offices and Rules Committee was called to order at 3:36 p.m. on December 4th, with the following members present: Nancy Purdy, Mike Clayton, Denise Corey, Chair, Andrew McDevitt, Jeremy Downey were unable to attend. Also attending were Michelle Bass, Assessment Office, Treasurer George Edwards, Board members Mike Watts, John Doty, and Gail Mason, and Daryl Cox, and Vicki Beabout, Administrative Assistant. Tax cycle update, Ms. Babb shared with the members that notices were sent out on November 18th. In old business, Mr. Edwards and the committee discussed the Paid Leave for All Workers Act. After some discussion, it was suggested to continue discussing this at the next county offices and rules meeting, when we can have a little bit more information. New business, the members were presented with a resolution regarding the state's attorney's appellate prosecutor, and that is in your board book. After reviewing the resolution, a motion to forward this to the county board was made by Mr. Clayton and seconded by Ms. Purdy. It carried unanimously with 3 yeses, no nays, and 2 absent. And at this time, I so move.
A motion and a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bennett. Any discussion? Roll call.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
McDevitt,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
Okay, there was no miscellaneous business and executive session. The committee members that were present conducted 2 interviews for the supervisor of assessments open position. The meeting adjourned at 4:50 p.m. on a motion by Ms. Purdy and seconded by Mr. Clayton.
Thank you. Next up is education, Mr. McDevitt. Thank you. Emergency Food and Shelter Board, Mr. Dowd.
No meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Emergency Telephone System, 911 Board, Mr. Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thought I would let you folks know that Matt Hanson has a new contract. They voted for him to still be director of the 911 center. Just for the record, that there was 2 no votes, and I was one of them. I think he deserves a raise, but I thought it was a little high. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Finance Committee. The Finance Committee was called to order at 5:30 p.m. with the following members present: Mr. Mike Watts, Mike Clayton, Nancy Brady, Darrell Cox, Chairman presiding. Andrew McDevitt was unable to attend. Also attending were George Edwards, Treasurer, Vicki Beabout, Administrative Assistant. The Treasurer's report, Mr. Edwards reported his office is completing the end-of-year business and all tax distributions. There was no old business. New business was discussion was had by the committee regarding supervisor of assessment salary. No action was taken, no miscellaneous business. And the meeting adjourned at 5:37 on a motion by Mr. Watson, was seconded by Ms. Purdy. It was a short meeting. We do have a health and safety committee. Health and and Safety Committee was called to order at 4:30 PM with the following members present. Denise Corey, Andrew McDevitt, Darrell Cox, Chair, Ted Friesland, Jeremy Dowdy were unable to attend. Also attending was Jim Hilgenberg, EMA Director, Julie Dieters, the Care Center, Allison Hudson, Regional Planning, Board members Gail Mason and Vicki Beabout, Administrative Assistant. EMA update, Mr. Hilgenberg gave the monthly EMA report. It's attached. We had a discussion followed. The Care Center update, Ms. Dieters gave the November monthly report. She also discussed with the members approval of a contract with MP Construction. The approval of the contract was tabled at this time. There was no old business. The new business, Ms. Hudson shared with the members solid waste recycling grant reimbursement program. It's also attached. The members were presented with a dynamic life cycle innovation service agreement. It's also attached. After discussion, a motion to forward this agreement to the county board was made by Ms. Corey and seconded by Mr. Friesland. The motion carried 3 yeses, no nays, and 2 absent, Dowdy and Friesland. I will entertain a motion. Ms. Corey, second.
Minutes say that Mr. Friesland seconded, but he was also absent.
Were you there? Were you?
No.
Oh,
I was up there.
I see. Apparently, you're going to modify those minutes.
Correct.
So who did second that motion?
Yep.
By who? No. Can you go get it? Why? Catch that? Who caught that? She go get her notes.
I was already. Well, if we need to edit the minutes, I caught something else earlier today, that Ms. Dieters actually did not give the November monthly reports at that meeting.
That's correct.
So we can edit both.
Okay.
Should we table this one until next time?
Yes, we could, but if she can fix it, we might as well, instead of kicking a can down the road.
Does anyone have questions about the dynamic life cycle?
I know we hear about it.
Electronic recycling.
It's recycling.
Oh, it's.
Yeah, it's the same company we used last time.
And do we have it that time? Is this just general recycling or is
Yes.
It's
this
the electronics.
do we have a date?
When did she say she was planning?
I don't know that she actually said that. They were going to use Lake, did they use Lake Lane College?
Yes.
They were gonna do that.
The terms of the agreement are January 1st, 2024, and December 31st, 2024.
So anytime next year.
Okay,
Yeah, they haven't
it
said-
was
Probably in the
seconded
spring.
by Mr. McDevitt. Because you didn't remember that, did you? I didn't either. So I guess, and also the other issue was Ms. Dieters did not do a monthly report in November. She was out sick and she got married in November, didn't have those things with her, so I guess I'll entertain a motion to correct the minutes.
Make that motion.
Did it, what, no, we don't? We don't vote on them? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So we're going to correct the minutes, and Ms. Dieters will strike the first sentence in the Care Center update, and we'll change Mr. Friesland's name to Mr. McDevitt's. Okay, now where we at? Ms. Corey has made a motion to accept the service agreement for Dynamic Life Cycle. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I think Ms. Purdy beat you to it.
That's fine.
All right, motion by Ms. Corey and a second by Ms. Purdy. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes,
McDevitt,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. Ms. Miscellaneous business and annual performance evaluation for the EMA coordinators presented and completed. There was no public comment. The meeting adjourned at 4:55 with a motion by Ms. Corey and a second by Mr. McDivitt. Next up is the insurance committee, Ms. Purdy.
No meeting.
Liquor commissions. We had a meeting, didn't we?
Is it?
See the shirt along.
It's not good.
Not see it. Anybody else see it?
No, it's not.
No, it's not good. Well, we'll put that off till next one. Okay, very well. I'll sit back down. Town Council Board, Mr. Friesen.
We met on last Thursday, Mr. Chairman, on the official list.
Thank you. Planning and Development, Mr. Watts.
I believe, Mr. Chair, that if I may, Regional Planning Commission did meet and wanted to let everybody know that the state is going to have $1 billion to give out to try to expand broadband to rural areas of the state. And, our Director of Planning and Development, Charlie Lockhart, is going to continue the meeting. I believe it's tomorrow morning to find out the specifics. At this point, it looks like we'll probably work with other counties to our south where there's a lack of coverage. The idea is we'll probably have more ability to go in front of that. And it's going to be a pretty good haul. There are going to be weekly meetings starting January 4th with a number of people that are going to be required in our committee to be appointed to attend those meetings to qualify for the fund. So it's an important project, and I hope we can meet all the requirements to forward getting better coverage, especially to the south end of the county.
Is that something Kelly is spearheading? I mean, he's in the
Yes.
point
Yes,
person.
he's going to attend the meeting and then get the specific information. He and I have been out talking to people, especially people in the rural southern areas, to see if they can know he's
It's the $1 billion rule. Or
Is it a million or a billion? It's a billion, but it's for the entire state.
Entire state.
And yeah, specifically targeted for providing better or in some cases, some service to rural areas. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Public Health Board, Mr. Dowdy.
No meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Road and Bridge, Mr. Doby.
No meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Senior Citizens Tax Levy Committee, Ms. Purdy. Sheriff and Law Enforcement Committee, Ms. Corey.
The Sheriff and Law Enforcement Committee was called to order at 5:07 p.m. on December 6th with the following members present: Gail Mason, Mike Clayton, Rick Shook, and Denise Porter Chair, Bob Bennett, Rag Sumaker. Also attending were Sheriff Kent Martin, Chief Deputy Tyler Lean, Board members Daryl Cox and John Doty, and Vicki Beabout, Administrative Assistant. Review reports. Sheriff Martin reviewed the November monthly reports with the members. They're attached in the report books. Discussion followed. Old business, Sheriff Martin updated staffing with the committee. Currently, he has 3 pending job offers for correction officers. He has 1 telecommunications position open. Once these positions are filled, he will be fully staffed. In new business, Sheriff Martin updated the members on current projects at the jail. Upgrades for the elevator have begun and hope to be finished by December 19th. He also shared that he's still waiting to hear back from the architect on when the jail remodel project will begin. Sheriff Martin and Chief Deputy Lean updated the members on the contract negotiations, and discussion followed. There was no miscellaneous business, no public comment, and the meeting adjourned at 5:52 p.m. on a motion by Mr. Clayton and seconded by Mr. Bennett.
Thank you. Supplies and claims, Mr. Bennett.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the members of the Supplies and Claims Committee have reviewed the bills and approved them to be paid, and I so move.
A motion to have second by Mr. Friedland. Any discussion? Roll call.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
McDevitt,
Yes.
Hardy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. WIOA committee, Ms. Purdy.
The Workforce Innovation Opportunities Act meetings were held yesterday in Effingham. That included the youth committee, the consortium, the board meeting, and the chief elected officials meeting. Under the youth activities, the work experience and training for 16 to 24-year-olds this is a program that we would like to get more companies involved with. WIOA is offering 29, these young people from 16 to 24 can work 29 hours a week up to a year, and it's paid for by WIOA. And it offers them training, and possibly the company then will hire them full-time after the training. So if more companies knew about this, I think that they would get more involved in it, and it would help out the youth program, because it gives them a trained employee that they trained with someone else's money. Funds, by the way, are available for the youth for transportation to that employment. In the consortium meeting, Shannon McGregor from Lakeland College Adult Ed Program spoke to the consortium, and she is hoping to get a grant to work with the ESL, which is the English as a Second Language students, to help them gain citizenship, not only to teach them English, which they do, that's the ESL, but also to help these students gain American citizenship. And we had already had a discussion on language, which we always expect. We kind of think in this area, well, if you don't speak English, it must be Spanish. So this was a question asked of her. We know there are other languages out there, not just Spanish. And she said, oh yes, they have students who speak Haitian Creole, different African nation dialects, Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, as well as other languages at Lakeland College. So anybody interested, they are looking for additional ESL teachers. You do not have to speak another language. You just have to be able to speak English and willing to teach these people how to speak. So one-stop operator services. One of the things that WIOA is trying to do is eliminate the confusion for people about where do I go for services. There are a lot of services out there. People don't always know where to go to get specific things. The WIOA has in Effingham a one-stop operator center, which is kind of like a hub. You can go to the one place or call them, and they will get you to the right agency or organization to help you with whatever specific thing that you need. This is in cooperation. Well, it's at the CEFS office. I don't know if anybody's familiar with CEFS. Used to be Coles, Effingham, Fayette, and Shelby counties is why it's called CEFS. But as they kept growing and adding more counties, they just kept the name CEFS and just called it CEFS. So CEFS is working with the Illinois Department of Employment Security to start meeting monthly instead of quarterly to try to coordinate the services better for people in the 13 areas that our local WIOA covers. In partner reports, oh, by the way, 691 people went through the one-stop since July the 1st. In partner reports, we have several companies that, not in Coles County fortunately, but who are going out of business, and that is causing more need for training and money. So I went to Lakeland College today because I am the chairman of the chief elected officials. So I went to Lakeland College to sign a request for additional funds for training of these employees. There are 54 employees who want training from the closing of Quad Graphics in Effingham, 17 workers who want training from the closing of County Market in Vandalia, and Evapco in Newton is closing, but they did not request training because they're offering those employees to work at the Evapco in Greenup. But this just kind of shows you why the training money is so important. These people can be trained for a different job. There is, let's see, probably not interested in that. By the way, I was reelected to CEO chair last night at the meeting. And anyone interested in knowing more about our local workforce area, they do have they're on Facebook, they have a website, and they have a news program, which you can find on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and Stitcher. And there's all kinds of different news on them. The most recent one was on Veterans Services. I mentioned last time about the Navigator program, and this is something that I find quite exciting. It's been in our area for a year now, and these are apprenticeship programs that are being offered to workers, to people who want a job, and we're coupling that with companies who are willing to participate, and then they end up with an employee if they want them at the end of the training. And this has grown. The goal for the grant, and it was a $98,480 grant that our local WIOA received for this program, and the goal was to have 5 new apprenticeships, and we have 9. So quite exciting. That includes an automotive tech at Casey Summers in Mattoon, a CDL driver at Old King in Mattoon, construction driver at Three Sisters Logistics in Teotopos, diesel technician at the Equity in Stewardson, early childhood educator at the Montessori Kids Universe in Effingham, feed mill operator at the Equity and fleet driver at the Equity, both in Stewardson, professional brewer at Crooked Creek Winery in Centralia, and a registered nurse at Clay County Hospital. Let's see. One thing that I think I already told you about that. We had a speaker from Lakeland talk about the ESL program. Okay. Anyone want to find out more about this? You can have this book for more information.
We're trying to do an apprentice program through our business in our code, but I wanted to let you know, in the state of Illinois, if you are doing a job like this, training, outside of the job, like if you were say you worked in a factory doing this, but you're training for a different job, you actually qualify to draw unemployment while you're doing that. If I took it when I went to Wyotek, and what it is you just have to have 3 businesses that say that they might hire you when you graduate or when you get through the program, and it allows you to focus on your education and get income to come in and help you while you're doing that. I thought you might want to add that in there to that and make it known.
I will make sure they know, I'm sure they know about that. So, good information. It's out there. I think the problem is, and this is why I'm sorry I spent so much time talking about it, I just don't think that people in our county know about this. And I don't think employers know about this. And so I spend a lot of time trying to talk about it because it's there. And we do not get enough of the youth in the youth program. These are people who are 16 to 24 who have been out of school at least 6 months. They can get training. They may have had a job, but this is not a job that they want. Maybe it's served a purpose for a while, but now they're wanting a career. They can get training at no cost, and transportation will be provided. There's money available for it, and this is money that goes unspent that plays on our youth programs.
Thank you.
Just quickly, the information about the work, the apprenticeship or whatever, do the chambers, both Mattoon and Charleston, have that information? Because they used to, I know we used to be able to get flyers that we could just, they would send them electronically, so it didn't cost them any extra money to advertise or pass out information, so they might be interested.
And that would be a good thing to, for the one stop, to make sure they have in these chambers if you don't already. Yeah.
Nancy, I think it's a great thing, but I just think people just don't care about that kind of stuff. Kids, nobody, no matter how old they are, nobody wants to work anymore. If they do want to work, they want to start out with the big bucks. They don't want to take a step. But I hope people really look into it. People just don't care.
Okay.
Well, the people who
Don't care how old they are.
know where it is.
Do we have any old business? Do we have any new business? Any miscellaneous